time on BrianTheBlue Game Reviews. Nah, I don't want to relive that hell again. I did reorganize my shelves though. Tell me what you think of them. Excitebike 64 for the Nintendo 64.
Excitebike 64.
It's the early 2000s. Nintendo 64 was having a rough time competing with their newest rival in Sony and their 32-bit PlayStation. Though technically inferior, the PS1 gave developers more opportunities and memory with optical discs as opposed to cartridges, so many third-party companies flocked to the competition, leaving the N64 with whoever was left and whatever Nintendo could come up with. The Big N, of course, was up to the challenge, giving us some of the best early examples in 3D gaming, as well as some of their best entries in their own franchises and also creating new ones. There may have been a few games that may have come out from out of nowhere, and I think the biggest example of that would have to be Excitebike 64.
This game was released on April 30th, 2000 and was very well received by the critical masses. Now those that know their history will remember the first game on the original Nintendo, but that would have been 15 years ago by the time the sequel hit shelves, so I would imagine many gamers were wondering where the hell this came from. Best bet if you're trailing behind your biggest competitor, you'll look deep into your catalog to see what you can revive from the dead. But they certainly didn't choose a bad choice from the black box games, and believe me, they could have done worse, but I'm definitely curious how it plays today. That's what we're going to get on these dirt bikes for as we take a better look at Excitebike 64.
Now, when I say this game came straight out of left field, I wasn't kidding, as it was humorously developed by Left Field Productions.
Nintendo knew what they were doing!
I never heard of them before now. They were making some basketball and weird Disney handheld games before landing this job, and they sure made a first impression.
Ah, my damn ears.
Before we get into the main game, which is the season mode, I'm probably going to do myself a favor and go into the tutorial. Like most, it shows you the general basics of how to control the bike, which will feel intuitive at first, but further lessons get real deep into how to handle corners and jumps so you can get the most out of your bike and ability. It'll test your newfound maneuvering before moving on to the next lesson, so you'll know if you're doing it right or not.
It looks very much like they're taking a realistic approach, not only in how it feels and controls, but they also got brand names some might recognize. But they did put in a few inputs you'll know from the original game, like pulling back when you reach the top of a hill to get some good air. Though I had some trouble figuring that out. Way to rub dirt on my technique.
I think I have the set of skills to get by, so let's see what a season of Excitebike is like. We can choose as well as customize between 6 characters, each having their unique stats. I'll play it safe and go with Jumpin' Jim Rivers because he's overall average and he may as well be sponsored by me anyway. I mean, look at us. It makes sense.
These guys also have bios. Hate to disagree with you, Jim, but I like to win. And winning does take you to new heights. You'll see what I mean once we win.
3, 2, 1, go!
Off the bat, I just killed someone by doing the classic maneuver of making them eat my ass.
The first race in Kyoto was going okay. My biggest worry was being able to keep the bike straight and not swerve like crazy, and for good reason too, as I accidentally took a jump diagonally and wiped out. It cost me first place, but I still finished to get some points.
We're going by the Super Mario Kart type of point system, so if I stay in the top 4, I may have a chance. If it's any consolation, I did get a lap record, have that to fall back on in case I don't get first.
The next race on the mountain quarry kicked me back into reality. Though I started strong, this green shithead made me eat it, and I never fully recovered from this. The map was bigger than the first, and obviously this is my first time playing it, so don't expect me to master everything on my first go. There is a way to get better at the tracks, but we'll get there when we get there. As for now, I was able to secure 4th, so I can at least get a pity point.
Pity point! Pity point! Pity point!
Heading into Houston for the 3rd race, and fortune returned in my favor. Seems like I'm better off in arena-based courses, as I took a massive lead and only struggled with a few choice corners, so it gave me time to appreciate other things, like look at those humongous helmets!
Oh shit. I almost thought I was gonna choke at the final turn, but I was able to get the checkered flag. Lefty's Mill was an interesting location, pretty big, only 2 laps, and I had to work hard to get 4th place. Oh god damn it, that grinding the wall trick doesn't work for bikes as much as NASCAR. I still have a lead, but it's by a real close margin. Just can't have Nigel York or Vicky Steele do any better than me, then victory will be mine. Wonder if these people are real. Probably are, but not as motocross racers. 5th and final race. This is my moment, my time to shine, to be the very best like no one ever was. Hold on to your butts, cause we're gonna fly. Right off my bike, son of a bitch. It's okay, it only means I have to work for my victory. Oh, that asshole was waiting for me. This is sabotage. No, I'm losing it, man. I'm losing it. I can make this up. It's only the first lap. Come on. Come on. We're in 2nd, but Orange is in the lead. No idea who that is. No shit, announcer man. But looks like that's all I'm gonna get. Okay, who's getting it? Who's getting it? Yeah! Oh, we're calling it there. Doesn't get any better than that. I'm out.
There's obviously more season courses to try with more tracks, and hell, there will be more difficulty options to try if you're that good enough. But after attempting just the first round of silver, I'm gonna need more practice to even make it to the top rankings.
I can settle with beating bronze for now, and the alloy has many practical uses, usually for constructing sculptures, coins, and automobile parts, so bronze can do wonders, and I'll remember that when I melt it down and get some money out of it. Is there a cashforbronze.com?
The music was composed by Matt Furness and Chris Lamb, and much like its predecessor, it isn't really heavy on the tunes. The ones that are present aren't really in the base game, they're mainly reserved for different menus, with a few exceptions of course. From what I've heard, the tracks are fine for what they are, nothing real iconic like in the original, besides maybe the main menu. You'll just have to let it grow on you.
Kinda makes sense why they wouldn't have music during the races, as you'd have a hard time hearing it over the
I wouldn't be surprised if many didn't know about the main mode of this game, as they might have been focused on all the other modes. You have exhibition races, where you can choose any course you've unlocked with up to 4 players. I'm sure most went to this to play with friends, as I know this is a popular multiplayer game on the system. Though I didn't have anyone to play with, I thought I'd take the opportunity to get better at the game. But it didn't go well. Time trials you should be familiar with in other racing games where you put your skills to the test to get the fastest laps possible in each course. Special tracks are unlockable mini-games, each with their own unique objectives. I only tried the stunt course, which only resulted in me wandering around and hitting big jumps, as I had no idea how to do stunts if I was actually able to.
There are more interesting modes that I can't play, nor will I attempt to play, because that takes effort. Options has some interesting toggles, like I have no idea what high-res or drones are supposed to do. The manual doesn't specify, but I can imagine what high-res does if it uses the expansion pack, and drones will make the comms target you. Screw that! Last but not least is custom tracks, where the game sticks to its programmable roots by allowing us to create our own tracks. Did you know you can play the original game on this 64-bit game? I'm not going to be able to show that off because that takes effort. But there's one more thing I can show you. Do we like cheats?
Excitebike 64 would go on to sell around 2 million copies, which is respectable, but I don't think its sales helped its legacy in the long run, as when someone refers to Excitebike, most will assume the original game over the 64-bit incarnation. Speaking of, the original Excitebike still sees re-releases every now and then physically and digitally, and the series would continue trucking along quite literally by adding new entries that weren't focused around the biking. The last release as of this video has been World Rally on WiiWare, and it's growing less and less likely that we'll see another new entry in the future. Which do you think is more likely, F-Zero or an Excite game? Why not combine the two? That may make an interesting crossover.
So, what is my rate to play? For coming straight out of the thin air of the blue sky, I was taken by surprise at how good this game is on its own. I think if it didn't have the Excitebike name, it probably would have been a gem on a system full of them. But having the backing of Nintendo didn't hinder things any, but I'm of the impression this game doesn't get enough love nowadays. But I suggest y'all should give it a second look.
Excitebike wouldn't be my first choice in the Black Box series to bring back. I tried to bring Hogan's Alley to a whole new generation, as I like me some light gun games. But clearly Nintendo chose the right title to make a franchise out of and show off their now aging system's 64-bit capabilities. And for the time it looks very well put together, with many varied tracks and so much to do outside of the season mode. You're gonna have a great time whether you're playing alone or with friends if you're able to get them together. I think my only complaints would be down to the controls. If you want to get good, you're going to have to learn, and it's not going to be easy with this controller, at least in my opinion, and it might be realistic to a fault seeing as it's easy to eat it than it is to take the turns. Just don't toggle that drone option and you'll get the pity point at the very least. Seeing as I didn't have the best experience with an early 64 game, I'm glad to be caught off guard in more ways than one with this game. It was pretty good, pretty fun, but I bet it would be more fun if you're allowed to throw hands during a race. This could have been Nintendo's answer to Road Rash if they really wanted it to be, but this title was probably just shy of when the Big N was going through another edgy phase.
To conclude, I give this game a play rate must play. Thank you, R. Farnsworth. Could be Richard, could be Rita, who knows?
But that's only my opinion. If you have your own thoughts, leave a comment. If you like what you see, leave a like. If you think others would enjoy this, share it around the web. And if you want to see more, subscribe. Anyway, this has been BrianTheBlue Game Reviews, Excitebike 64. Again, if you don't know what the system is for this game, I don't know what to tell you. Brian here, want to quickly say thanks for watching this game review, as this and other content wouldn't be possible without you. I appreciate anyone and everyone who watches my videos from all across the world, but it alarms me that over 80% of viewers aren't subscribed to the channel. So I'd like to reiterate and ask you to subscribe as well as ringing the bell to stay notified. That way you can stay up to date with future content that'll appear on the Jacobians channel. Presently, I put out new quick views and current calamities every month, and my brother Alex has a brand new show all about wrestling games called WrestleBound. You might want to stick around, as we're only getting started. You can also find me on a couple of other channels. I run the Starfighters Arcade channel, where we take a look at the history of our machines on the floor as well as show you our new arrivals, and on Millennial X, where me, arcade buddies, and family get into shenanigans playing, hunting, and reviewing games. If you want to explore more content, these would be the first places to go. That's all the time I got, but be sure to click the icon now if you want to watch the previous or upcoming episodes of Game Reviews.
That's another one in the books. So the question comes again. What's next?
Jacob, I swear to God, if this is one of your...